Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7 as we continue our little bit of a JDM themed, I guess, month at this point. I'm just going to extend it to this time with one of the most iconic cars to ever be seen in Gran Turismo history, and that is one car that we probably all love because of this series, the Toms Castrol Supra. Now, the one we have here may be different to maybe one that you've seen in other Gran Turismo games. There's multiple versions of it. So the one we're looking at here is the 97 model. As you can see, it's the 97 Supra GT 500 with its legendary Castrol Toms livery. Now, I believe there's multiple models from like 95 all the way up to like 2001, I want to say, throughout Gran Turismo history. In terms of price point for this one though, you're looking at 1.8 million, and it's never gone up and it's never gone down. Performance points 711.70 with 492 brake horsepower. This is definitely no slouch. It's a turbocharged monster, and we've probably all seen footage of this thing hitting up the racetracks over in Japan. All you've got to do is YouTube some JGTC footage and you're in for a great time of seeing all of those Gran Turismo legends on track together. But this car is synonymous with the Gran Turismo series as a whole. Whether you're just booting up the Gran Turismo 1 and looking at the loading screen, you'll see this thing in the background, or especially in the likes of Gran Turismo 3, where they essentially do a nice panning shot looking at engines and stuff, and the Castrol Supra then revs up, exits the garage, and away we go to that awesome intro. Now, obviously, in more recent times, the cars kind of fell out of favour. I'd say kind of Gran Turismo 3 was where it sort of started to, disappear after that time. And I wouldn't say disappear necessarily from the games, I just mean in terms of being sort of the poster child of Gran Turismo. But it's always pretty much been there in one form or another, whether that be 95, 2001, or this one, the 97 Supra. So what exact model is this? Well, this is obviously, like I said, the 97 model. Did it win anything? Yes, it won the 1997 JGTC Drivers' Championship with, I believe, Crum at the wheel, or Michael Crum. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. I believe also you may know this name, a little Formula 1 driver as well, Pedro de la Rosa. Both piloted this car to the Drivers' Championship, the number 36 Toms Castrol Supra. But what games does this car actually feature in? Because, like I said, the model seems to change from sort of game to game. Now, this is one that came along with the sort of, I guess, HD era of Gran Turismo. So it was never ever seen. I believe we had sort of the 95, the 99, I believe, or maybe it was the 98 in the likes of Gran Turismo 2, the 2001, or 2000. I'm pretty sure it was one of those models, but the 97 appeared originally in Gran Turismo 5, Gran Turismo 6, and then obviously it's then appeared in Gran Turismo 7. So this car is essentially not the original one that you probably know, but essentially it is, because it's the same model of Supra. It's just kind of got the same livery and all that kind of stuff. So, it's a different year model, but it's still the same car that we all know and love, if that kind of makes sense. It's kind of confusing when you look into the history of the sort of Toms Castrol Supra throughout Gran Turismo games, because one minute it's like a 99, one minute it's a 2001, one minute it's a 97, it kind of chops and changes all over the place. But the 97 is one that's been in the HD games and is the only version actually within Gran Turismo 7. I believe Gran Turismo 5 and 6 actually had all of the different versions put into one game in terms of the Castrol Supra. So I believe there was like a 95, 97. I'm not sure if the 99 ever came back. I think that one just kind of ended up in Gran Turismo 2. And then obviously there was the more Gran Turismo 3 model, which I believe was either the 2000 or the 2001. But overall, it became a Gran Turismo icon. It was successful in the real world. The Supra being very, very successful. This generation of Supra being very successful during its racing time over in its home country. Obviously racing alongside other legends of the track like the Honda NSX, the Nissan Skyline GTR, whether that be the R33 or the R34, I believe this one raced against. I'm pretty sure when the original Supra models came into the JGTC, it was the R33, probably the one that you noticed with a big insane wide body kit on it, and then they moved over to the R34. Now obviously it took the R34 to essentially dethrone this car itself. Now that is another car that is featured, and one that I'm going to talk about probably in a couple of days, which is the Pennzoil Skyline, which went on to take the 1999 season. So we do have two kind of retro or classic at this point, I guess, JGTC legends, one being the Toms Castrol Supra and the Pennzoil Skyline. Now obviously the JGTC series of cars from back in the day used to litter Gran Turismo. They're not as prominent now. We are missing obviously one of the legends of that period, which is the NSX. Now hopefully we do see that in, because there was a lot of awesome iconic liveries with that car as well, the likes of the Mobile 1, the sort of gold wheeled one, I believe it was like not a Castrol one, I believe, or it may have been Castrol, I cannot quite remember, but again we had a bunch of these JGTC legends at this point in the game, and there is only one that's kind of missing to sort of bring back that holy trio of what I like to call JGTC cars in terms of the out and out best, one being the Supra, the Toms Castrol Supra obviously probably being the most iconic, the R34 GTR, again the Pennzoil one, very iconic since around about Gran Turismo 2, Gran Turismo 3. I think I more remember it from GT3, and the Honda NSX, which we are still waiting on, and Polyphony definitely need to pull their finger out and bring it back, so we have a nice kind of, you know, group of cars there. Now obviously it is a bit weird, because if I say GT500 to you, you probably think of the, you know, Group 2s, but these actually fall under Group 3 in this game. It kind of makes sense, they're not as quick as they once were, but in terms of having that BOP off and stuff, they're no slouches either. These are great cars, and in terms of sound design, well, the Supra is right up there. You've got the insane turbo flutter inside the car, looks absolutely beautiful, and I do recommend taking this thing in VR. The livery selection that the community has done for this absolute legend of the series is phenomenal, and overall it's just a great time. However, there is a downside. If you are one of the people that wants to do daily races with this thing, don't expect too much from it. It has a ton of understeer. It's just absolutely awful in terms of getting through the corners. Does it necessarily mean it's a slouch? In fact, no. In terms of its top speed, it's actually not too bad, but it's definitely let down by its handling when it's under BOP, and it really doesn't do the car justice. But if you want to experience this car for what it is, then, well, it's a fantastic time, and I fully recommend you putting out that 1.8 million credits for it. Or if you got the special edition, well, here's a great thing, you got this car for free. I know when I booted the game up and I saw that I got this absolutely stunning GT500 Supra for free, I was absolutely hyped. It's a Gran Turismo legend, and it still remains that way to this day, and nobody else can say otherwise. Let's have a look how it did on the timing sheets. It does come overall in 13th place, 711.70 pp, racing hard compound of tyres as standard, with a 6 minutes 47.718. Now that is quite a bit off the pace of the likes of the AMG GT316 and especially the more modern AMG GT320, but that's to be expected. There is around about 19 years difference between those cars, even if they are same category. So is the Toms Castrol Supra a absolute legend of Gran Turismo and a legend of real world motorsport? Yes, there's no denying it. It's iconic. It's one of the most iconic cars to ever be in any racing game ever. In my opinion, it's kind of the hero car for Gran Turismo games, and to me, even to this day, it is still an absolute legendary car. Is it worth your time? 100%. Look, 1.8 mil for such an insanely legendary car is nothing. It's a Supra for starters. It's the Toms Castrol Supra, and it's an absolute blast to go around. Now, as I hinted, and you know, I kind of give you a bit of history on some of the other cars in JGTC of the same era, we'll be going over to the other legendary GT500 car, the Nissan Skyline R34 GTR GT500, the 1999 champion next. Don't forget to tune in a few days for that one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.